our massive review of how we acquired all of this land. So first things first, it was the original 13 colonies, which was up in this area here. And who were they ruled by? You can just call out.
British.
The British or Great Britain. Very good. And the colonists were over here, and they wanted to be in this land west of the Appalachian Mountains, but it was already occupied by the French and the Native Americans. So did they easily, peacefully get this land? No, they had a war. What was the war?
French and Indian War.
The French and Indian War. Very good. The French and Indian were not fighting. They were actually on one side. The Native Americans didn't really mind the French. They said the French was nicer to them, or they, more respectful. So they preferred the French to occupy that land. So they teamed up with the French and they fought against Great Britain colonists. And who won?
Great Britain.
Great Britain colonists won. Yes, the Great Britain colonists won. And so with that, they were able to start settling in this land here because they had just had the war, and it was for that. I'm sorry, y'all doing too much. So you don't need it. We're not on the book. We're not on page right now. So just relax. Sit down. Relax. Sit down. Relax. Put your mask on. So they won, and they started settling over here. But was it a smooth transition? No, it was not. It was not a smooth transition. Actually, the Native Americans started fighting with the colonists. And do they have money for another war? No. So what did King George III put into place?
The Proclamation Act in 1873.
So the Proclamation of, no, not 18, it's before, 1763. The Proclamation of 1763 said that this land would be for the Native Americans, and that the settlers who had settled in this area, I'm not going to ask you again to sit down and be still. The information that we have, no, not the information. See, you got me messed up. Bro, chill. So, they were not able to, the settlers that are already settled here had to move. And were they happy about that? No. So not only could they not live here after they fought this war, they began to be taxed on the war because Great Britain wanted their money back. So with that, we can't live in the land that we fought for. Now you're taxing us for the war, for the land that we can't even settle in. So they were not pleased. What did they do?
The American Revolution?
What happened before the American Revolution?
The Declaration of Independence.
The Declaration of Independence. Yes, they declared their independence from Great Britain. They said, we are no longer bound to you. Y'all don't run us no more. So with that, they decided that now it's going to be a war because King George III wasn't just going to allow these colonists to say that they weren't under his rule anymore. So then it was the American Revolution. So in the American Revolution, who won the American Revolution? The Americans, yes. They then became the United States of America. And with that, they now have this space here. And they are going to live and start the country and have the Constitution and all those good things. And so here we are. This is the land, and they are free from Great Britain. But now they wanted to move westward, expand westward. So they had this land right up in this area. And who did they purchase it from?
Spain.
Not Spain. France. They bought it from France. Who was the ruler? No.
That's great.
No. Oh, I see some people looking through the book. Where is it? Who did they buy it from? What was his name? Napoleon. Yes, very good. So Napoleon was the ruler of France at that time, and they purchased this land from him because they were in war with Great Britain, and they needed money for their war. How much money did this land cost?
$15 million.
$15 million. Very good. So now the United States is this and this here. And then we got this land from who?
Spain.
Spain gave it to us in a treaty. And looking at the study guide yesterday, we were reminded of the year. It was the Treaty of
Guadalupe.
Nope, that was Texas. 18 what?
1843.
see a book? Let me see. I'm gonna tell you what page to look it up. So here we are. What are we talking about? We're talking about Florida. Okay, so looking at Florida. 1819, yes. On 1914, on 94, it has the information. It says, and 1819 is when they signed the treaty and they gave Florida to the United States. Very good. So now all of this belongs to the United States. But of course, they wanted more. So with that, we move into Texas. And so Texas was first ruled by, it was first called Mexico, but who was it ruled by? Spain. Very good. Then they were their own country. Texas is the only place that was its own country that was then brought into the Union. So after Texas became an independent country, America and the Americans was like, ooh, come on over and join us. Well, was everyone happy about that?
No.
Okay, there were two different groups that were not pleased about Texas joining the Union, joining the United States. Haley. You forgot? Okay. Landry. Mexico. What did Mexico say if they admitted?
They were going to declare war against the United States.
They was going to declare war against the United States. Absolutely. So then also there was another group that was not too keen on Texas being admitted into the Union. You know them? Who? No, the Texans. Actually, we didn't read how the Texans felt. Connor?
Spain.
No, we done with Spain.
Native Americans.
No. No. Okay, so let's think. Let me give you the scenario, and then I want you to tell me. So while Texas is here, we have the United States, and there is an even balance between slavery states and freed states. Well, if Texas was then admitted, what would it become? A slave state. So the northern or the free states were had issue with the fact that Texas would then come in and mess up the balance of slave and non-slave states. So the two groups were Mexico, the Mexicans were not going to be okay with Texas going into the United States, nor was the northern states were okay because it was going to mess up the balance. All right, so now that we have that, there was a president who came on the scene, and his whole campaign was about expanding westward. When they expanded westward, girl, you better sit down. I know you're excited, but I'm not calling on you with you standing up like this. So what he said that he was then going, it was two things. He wanted to admit Texas, and it was another thing. We're going to pause on that other thing. I know that you're excited and you're ready to tell me. But before that, did he admit Texas?
Yes.
No. Yes, he did. So when he admitted Texas, those same people who were not happy about that, they made good on their promises. But we're going to pause on that for just a moment. So now we're going to go into this space here. The president, what was his name?
James Polk.
President James Polk had a slogan. What was that slogan?
54 or fight.
54, 40, or fight. So who was he kind of really threatening?
British.
He was threatening Great Britain because this space here, it was here and above here, was shared by the Americans and Great Britain for over how many years? 25 years. Very good. He was for over 25 years they shared this. But when James Polk came on the scene, he's talking about 54, 40, or fight. And so basically he was saying that we're going to claim the land at 54,
Latitude.
54, that's crazy. My watch heard me saying it and it started giving me some information on the latitude line. So 54, 40, the line of latitude, it decided that it was that he was going to claim that land from there on down. And so was Great Britain like, oh no, you guys can have it, or they was like, oh no, we gonna fight.
We gotta fight.
We gonna fight. So did Americans and Did Americans and Great Britain fight?
No.
No, they did not. Why?
Because they were already in the Mexican War.
They were already started in the Mexican-American War. Very good. You have a question?
Could I say that? Because I'm not
Yes. So what we have here, we had that they were part of the Mexican-American War had already started. So they couldn't be in two wars at the same time. They couldn't afford all that. So what they did, they came up with a compromise. And so what line of latitude did we get to have?
34.
No, not 34.
49.
49. Thank you. If nobody else is paying attention, I know Landon was paying attention. The 49th line latitude, they split it. So north of this 49th line, who owned it?
British.
The Great Britain, the British, very good. And south,
U.S.
U.S. So we got that land taken care of. We had to do a compromise because now we are in the Mexican-American War. So the United States said that this here, the southern border of the Rio Grande River was their land. And Mexico was like, no. And I told y'all, if y'all decided to let Texas into the United States, we was gonna fight. So they made good on their promise and they started a war. With them starting a war, who won? America, yes, very good. America won, and they were able to have this land here. And then in that compromise, after they won the war and they had their talk, they were able to purchase this California territory for how much money?
$2 million. 15 million.
15 million. Because we spent a total of 15 plus 15 is
30 million.
30 million on this right here, on these land areas right here. So we bought, I think it was 20 or 200 acres.
200
million, I believe. 200 million?
Oh, that's correct. 200 million.
200 million? Okay, I see Landon checking in his book. Tell me what you see. It should be on that page. Let me see. I believe it was 200 million. We got to be sure we're giving the correct information. Yes, 2 million acres of land from Mexico for $15 million. So we purchased this. So now at this point, we have this land here to this land here. We started over here on this border here of the Atlantic Ocean, and we started with these 13 colonies while we were still under the rule of Great Britain, and we grew through purchases, wars, treaties, compromises, all the way to this border here of the Pacific Ocean. And so this here is now, at this point, the United States.